All right, folks, welcome back to Mike and Maurice's Mind Escape. We're going to do episode 67 today. We're actually both live from Maurice's house. Hold on, we're getting a little feedback.
Oh, there we go. I fixed it. Sorry.
Yeah, you better fix it.
Work
Uh,
some kinks out.
so yeah, we're going to do synchronicities and weird mysteries. Today, we're just going to talk a little bit about the weirdest stuff that, has happened to us. And yeah, if anything weird has happened to you, leave a comment below and maybe we'll have you on if it's weird enough. So
Or ask a question.
yeah, but check us out at Mike and Maurice mindescape.com, patreon.com/Mike and Maurice. Also check out Maurice's comedy channel, Fat Earth Comedy. We'll put a link in the info below, and especially his new video where he takes a dab of diamonds and sauce for the first time.
Getting saucy.
All right, so let's jump into this. So why don't you first of all, do you believe in synchronicities, or do you think things are quote unquote coincidences, or what is your philosophy on that?
You always start out with these insane questions, man.
And you better answer it.
I think some synchronicities are real. I think they happen. I think they might be a sign from the divine. But I don't know. It's a back and forth battle with me. And then you were asking me particular encounters and stuff, and I was thinking back, and I don't think too many weird things actually have happened to me. How about you?
I've had some weird things in the last few years specifically.
Yeah, you had a bunch of stuff that actually propelled you into wanting to do this podcast and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's part of it. We'll get into that here in a little bit, but I think for me it's like, yeah, when you're younger, it's just a different way of like thinking about the world. When you're younger, you are just in the moment more, like when I was in high school and we were in college and stuff like that, we were hanging
Mm-hmm.
out, go to school, but then we had a band and we go to parties and hang out and have fun. You don't really think, like, if something weird happens, you're not like, yeah, you think, oh, that was weird, but there's no real significance to it. And I think as we get older, we recognize things that are, a little bit more significant and what they could mean and stuff like that. So I think it's partly just being mature and aware of things, aware of the things that weren't, unless something happens that's, I know when people are younger, I mean, you could have a near-death experience, you know, maybe it's something that's just like a 1 in a billion chance of something happening. You're just like, oh my God, that was insane, So I do think that
Yeah.
there's that, but I think that your everyday person, though, probably experiences them more as they get older, especially if you're pondering life or, questioning the universe and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, do you think you have them more as an adult because you've had more experiences, though? Like, you can relate things? I don't know. I feel like you can draw more conclusions as an adult. So if something happens when you're a kid, it links up, or you keep seeing a certain time on your watch or something, you kind of brush it off. But when you get
Well,
older, you have all these reasonings behind that. You're like, oh, it might mean this, it might mean that. I know this number is good, or it's in the Bible, or it's, like a mystical number or something.
it's in the Bible, dog.
Well, you go back to the movie Pi, that Jewish crazy mystical number.
Yeah, you love that movie Pi. It was too manic for
I
me.
didn't say I loved it. I like it.
You said it was your favorite movie, and you said that I should watch it. So.
No, it's not my favorite movie. It's a good think piece, I think. I think.
But yeah, so you brought up a good point, which is kind of what I was getting at initially. Is when you do get older, I think you do have more life experience and more experience in general with everything, so you can recognize, like, we're good at picking out patterns, so we can recognize, like, if you've done something 100 times on your way to work, in terms of, let's say, you took a route every day for the 10 years or something like that, and then on the 11th year you see, a semi flip 17 times, and then it blows this up, and then it's this like crazy sequence of events that you've never seen before. So I think that's part of it, is that when you do get older, you've had so much experience that things are just more shocking in general, from that regard, if something like that happens. So that's just my opinion, but I don't know. I think it's definitely, you know, you brought up the time thing too. I've had a lot of weird stuff where I'll be thinking some really esoteric and weird things, and then I'll look at the clock and it'll say 11:11, and then I think, you know, is is this just my mind just put, you know, trying to connect some dots, you know? Because like we all want to believe, right? I mean, we all want to believe in some sort of higher power, higher dimension, higher wave of thinking, but does that really um does that really entail some sort of, you know, external thing happening, or is it actually just our mind connecting dots, you know? Like that's what I try and look at it objectively, you know, because you don't want to go into a situation like when we started this podcast, I was more open minded in the sense that, you know, things are anything's possible, and since we've gotten to this point in the podcast now, what are we? We're 67 episodes, and some of them are even two parts, so we're probably even close to, you know, the 80s or whatever.
It's like
So
a year and a half, I'd
yeah,
say, probably.
like a year, a few months, yeah. So I would say since that time, we've obviously learned a lot from doing the podcast, but we've also I've started to weed out things through learning, you know, different, you know, subjects, that there's certain things that are possible, there's certain things that are probable, and then there's certain things that are just
Yeah,
complete.
some theories hold up and some just
Yeah,
flop.
some things are just complete bullshit, and some things are on the way out. You know, even look at the, you know, we were talking about the other day, but the, you know, Graham Hancock's new book, America Before, and just the whole Clovis first paradigm, and how it was just holding on to this last thread. And now we see, you know, all these different Denisovans popping up all over these weird places, and, you know, lots of new data and stuff like that. So, but so what's your weirdest dream that you've had, that either something came from it, or maybe it, you know, we've all, I think, had some sort of weird experience with dreaming. You know, have you had anything recently that you can remember?
Yeah, when my buddy passed away, I had multiple dreams involving talking to him, and these dreams were like a progression after he passed on. The first one I had, I talked to him, and he was talking about how he didn't really know what was going on, and I wouldn't understand, and this and that. And then the next dream, it seemed like he actually knew a little more about where he was, and again, he explained I wouldn't understand. There was an underlying theme to all this. I was never going to really understand where he was, so I gotta stop, trying to figure out where he is. Just know he is somewhere and he's all right, and that kind of thing. But that's besides those weird dreams. I had some other instances. Well, we'll get to that in a minute here. What about your dreams?
Don't turn this back around. We're gonna dive deeper into your side of things here,
Yeah, it's gonna get weird in a minute.
and you might cry, and that's fine. So,
No, I'm all right. But yeah, let's get serious here. This
um,
mic, this mic is so intimate. I feel like I'm Dr. Fraser Crane, and I'm giving some lessons.
um, so, but your dream, you said, you know, he said that you wouldn't understand, and that's, I think about that sometimes too. And we were actually, you know, that episode we just did, "Are We Alone in the Universe" with Matt Tiller, we were talking about like how we think of aliens as this gray thing, you know, this gray alien archetype thing, but really it could be life that we can't even fathom based on the conditions of whatever planet or galaxy or whatever, you know, that life forms on. So I think it's possible that we don't even have the right idea of what's going on, you know, when we die. Like, forget about like like life in terms of we know it, or consciousness as we know it, could be something completely different that we're just not even aware of. So when I think about these things, I try to think outside the box, because to even think of stuff outside your own consciousness, or um you know, normal mind of thinking, it just gets weird, you know. So that idea that you had this dream that, you know, you're like, what's it like when you die, and he's like, it's, you wouldn't understand. Well, I could actually see there being something like that when you die. So maybe there was some sort of,
Yeah,
you
like a
know,
holding
well, I mean,
zone.
maybe when we're in our dreams, or we're meditating, or on psychedelics, or whatever the case may be, maybe we're closer to this other realm, or this other dimension, or whatever it is, than we are when we're in our day-to-day consciousness,
Hmm.
you know. So
Yeah.
That's an option. I mean, look, we like I said, we all want we I want to look at this objectively, but I also don't, there's I think there's a fine line between things that are on like the fringe that just haven't been
Well, it's
studied
hard
and
to look at dreams objectively. That's,
well, no, not just dreams. I'm just saying like this topic in general because it's like it is a fringe thing, and I think that there's some things that are fringe, and then there's other things that are just way over the line where there's not even that first step of evidence to lead to that. Which some of these fringe things we do have hard evidence. We do have people speaking with deceased members and DMT entities and all. Somebody that goes has a near death experience, they see their family members and stuff like that. Like, how does their brain know to manifest that?
right.
If it is just a chemical reaction, and then people that are on these DMT, trips, they're experiencing these entities that they're communicating with telepathically. Like, how is that happening? So there are questions on these certain topics, but then there's other people that get crazy with this stuff, and like I said, they take two steps forward without that initial step, check around, see what's going on, and then if there's more, proceed forward, kind of a thing. So
I was just reading this article the other day, and the question was, is the universe, does the universe have consciousness?
yeah.
And all these people were going on and on and on. And it's like, oh my gosh. I won't say God, I'll say gosh. These guys are pretty much saying that the universe is awake, and isn't that what God is? In
Right.
a way, I'm not saying it's fitting a perfect profile from some of these religions, but in a sense, it's just a massive collective consciousness. So if the universe is awake, then it's hilarious too, because now these scientists, they have to reach for other explanations like that. They're running to the end of the barrel here. They're breaking down the atoms to too far, and it's like we're still getting nowhere. So it's kind of like what that Thrilla and Sumilla was talking about on the last episode. What's his name? Tiller.
Tiller
Sorry,
for
I don't
Riller.
want to make a joke. I like that guy a lot. That guy was pretty interesting. But yeah, it's fuck. Where was I going with that?
Muhammad Ali, Thrilla, Manila.
yeah. All I could think about is the Thrilla and Sumilla, and my brain's been washed.
No,
Well,
you were just
anyways, so the universe is conscious. So then I commented, it's like, wow, scientists are what they're saying, that God might be real now. This is pathetic.
I'm sure people
We're
love
back
that.
to the we're
I'm
back to
sure people
basics.
loved that.
I
So
don't care if they like it or not. That's essentially what they're saying. It's like
yeah,
now scientists are saying that the universe is conscious. So we've been saying that for a long time, brother.
I tried to have cool conversations with people on Facebook and Reddit, and they're just not having it. So usually just comment on something, and then I don't check it again, and they can get as
Some
pissed off.
do and some don't. If they're in that
Yeah,
mindset of just not accepting any new ideas, it's just going to go down the drain quick.
but so back to the main base here. So yeah, so your dream that he was saying that it could be something you just don't understand. Well, I mean, that might be true, like I don't know.
Right, right.
And I don't
Well,
think
but
any
I also think, oh, is it a manifestation of my own thoughts? Because I kind of believe that there's this holding pattern. Like, I went into his death with pre-notions of what I thought the afterlife would be, and then these dreams are like almost like a reassurance of what I thought was true. So is that my own mind, manifesting? Is it
it could
creating that to
it
help me
could
cope
be.
with his death? Because your brain just does stuff. It's wild.
It absolutely could be. Now, I think that it would be naive to for sure put all your eggs in one basket or the other without continuing. Like if you felt like what you're saying right now, like there's some people they'll have like a mystical experience or religious experience, and that's it. They're sold. They're done for life. They're committed to the cause until so, and that's fine too. But I think that you have your experience was a dream. It wasn't some like life altering. I mean, it was in the sense that his passing and stuff like that, but it wasn't in terms of, um, you know, the way it shaped the way your brain works. You know what I'm saying? So I think when you look at it, I think that we are complex. Our brains are complex, and when we dream, we definitely do something. Are we replaying stuff in our head? The mainstream academic explanation for dreams is that our brain is working to solve problems like while we're sleeping, of like things like it's just running through the motions, like just you know,
Yeah, it's burning off
you're
something.
shutting down, but you're also, you know, but they've done studies too, and like certain parts of the brain don't really function the way that it does when you're like, so like there's all these different things too. And actually, a good episode, if you're interested in dreams, is the Joe Rogan one with Dr. Matthew Walker. That's a pretty good episode if anybody's interested. So, um,
Man, you are one big advertisement for that Joe Rogan podcast.
I mean, we've talked about it. I don't think I talk about it all the
I'm
time.
just joking, man.
You're just a critic, bro. You like to critique everything. That's all. This
Oh,
kid
I like
doesn't.
that. I
He
listen
doesn't like
sometimes.
Game of Thrones. He doesn't like Joe Rogan. Whatever is the best shit out there, he doesn't like that shit. So don't worry
We
about
have
it.
actually we actually have a question here. Are you guys familiar with the Bridge of Sara? Sirah.
No, we're
All
not.
right. Well, all right then.
I'll look into it. But yeah, we don't. I don't. I
No,
mean,
it's hard for me to
I
run
could sit here and
to
be like, yeah, dude, we for sure are. No, we're not. I don't know. I'll look it up when. I mean, usually when people comment stuff like check this out or check that out, I actually do check it out. There's been some really cool things that I've learned from people commenting and suggesting things and stuff. So thanks for everybody out there that keeps doing that, because I actually do look into it. So
Cosmo
uh,
Dub sent that one in. So yeah, we'll get back to you, Cosmo,
if it's cool enough, we might do an episode about it. I don't know yet,
for
you know.
sure.
So um, so back to the whole weird story stuff. So that was,
Back to reality.
would you say that that was the weirdest thing that's happened to you to date that you can point to be like, yeah, this is what makes me question shit.
I had some weird light flickering instances, but it's all surrounding my buddy's passing, so it's all like a connection. I don't. It's pretty interesting. But the light flashing, that's probably the closest I've came to a ghost or
What do you
any
mean
kind of
lifeline? Like
physical.
like could have been a power surge, or was it like, Dave, if you're there, you know, like that kind of a
It
thing?
wasn't that. I was playing drums in my basement, and I was
Okay,
listening to a song on my headphones, and it was actually talking about missing someone,
yeah.
and yeah,
So you felt like
it was pretty scary.
you felt like
Scary, but cool.
you felt like the lyrics were playing into how you were feeling about that specific, or it reminded you, or
Yeah, well, the lyrics said like something about I miss you and something like that, and then the lights flicked. So again, it could be my mind just playing tricks on me.
you've lived here a while now. Has that ever happened before? Like, have you ever seen the lights just flicker?
That area, that light hasn't started flickering until after he passed away, but maybe it was going on when at the end. What I don't
See,
know.
that's the most fucked up about this whole
It's
conversation
your
is,
mind, dude. You always just want to not believe it.
what if our mind is like some sort of a prison? You know, like, do you ever think about this? No,
Mine is.
I'm being serious. Like, what if it's like this type of, and this actually can be played into like Gnostic teachings and stuff like that, that where our pure spiritual self is trapped within this like meat suit or this meat body, and that when we die, we become free again. You know, so that's an interesting take, because like sometimes I think that we're like limited. Like, don't you feel like if a couple like maybe more connections were happening up top, that you could put a just like there's
Well,
certain times where,
don't they say that you only use a certain amount of your brain
well,
even?
this is what I'm saying. So sometimes I feel like I'm so close to like breaking through, like thought wise, whether it's thinking about stuff like this or thinking about you know, like other stuff having to do with work and work problems and different things like that. I feel like
Uh,
I'm just like on this cusp sometimes, and I feel like if it just get a little bit more juice out of this baby, you know. But I feel like there's always just this, like, it's like a governor up there, you know, like just something preventing you from like knowing or understanding, or you know, I don't know if that makes sense.
yeah, no, I hear you.
But I mean, I am gonna be honest, I obsessively think about all this kind of shit on a daily basis, so maybe that's part of it. But you know,
Right. I feel the most connected to like the world and existence when I do like a nice bike ride or a run and I start thinking about memories and then I feel connected. It's almost like I'm Bran. I'm connected to these memories and shit, man. And it's like I'm going back to them and reliving them, and then that propels me into thinking about what's going on here, what's going on with time, what's going on with my life. Because you're gonna blink your eye one day, and it's all gonna be over. It's a sad, sad story.
right.
Actually, Grateful Dead, a lot of Grateful Dead lyrics talk about that very thing. Like you wake up one day and it's all over. It's like a blink of an eye. which
Um,
is inevitable. That's just the way it is. It's sad, but you
so
gotta.
but here's the thing: is some people say like, okay, when there's some near death experiences, and we're gonna work on getting this guy on. I've been talking to him. He's a guy that had a near death experience, but he just experienced like nothingness or like blackness, you know. So like
Mhm.
we've had a couple people on now talk about near death experiences from the point of kind of a religious or a spiritual thing happening. I want to hear what the other point of view is. You know, like I said, we wouldn't be doing our jobs here if we were just using confirmation bias to, you know, go with what would be coolest, you know. So
Oh yeah.
but so
But so
but no, I guess so. I'll talk about my most recent weirdness.
yeah, I'm gonna kick back and listen to something here. Go ahead.
Uh well, there's two. There's two of them. I'll do the one first, and I've actually talked about it. I forget what episode, but um so like I don't know how long ago, it was like a year and a half ago maybe. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. Um and around that time, I think it was a little bit before, you and I actually were looking into some like weird esoteric books and stuff like that, like the Urantia papers, and we were getting into podcasts and cool stuff at the time. Um, and I just started doing like a bunch of reading and stuff, and so going through that experience with my mom being sick, it just made me think a lot more about life and kind of, you know, ponder, I guess, what's going on here? Why are we here? What are we doing? What's the purpose? Is there a purpose? You know, there's some people think
Right.
that this is just all a cosmic accident and we're just, you know, evolved
That's our
monkeys.
company manifesto, is what you're saying.
um, you know, we started the podcast, but the experience that I had was I was in town, and I was my now wife, or she was my fiance at the time. I was going to pick her up from her mom's house. Um, and I left my mom's house. This was after I just had saw her after the first time she told me what was going on and stuff. So I was going to pick up my wife for dinner and then bring her back. And I took Martyr, you know, by, you know, Gross Point over there. And I was heading towards where that Kroger is on that bend, you know. And on the way there, I was praying, and I hadn't prayed in a long time. I was raised Roman Catholic, but I stopped going to church like when I was in high school, and just decided that this, you know, I had questioned obviously a lot of stuff with that, but so I hadn't, you know, prayed in a long time, but something, you know, told me it just, you know, just like pray. So I was driving, like kind of like zoning out while praying. I mean, I was paying attention to the road. Obviously, anybody listening out there, I was still paying attention to the road, but I was, I was in like a thought, you know, like when how you're on like autopilot sometimes.
Yeah, they're fine with it. Keep going.
They're not. So I just had to say that. But um, so I was praying to Papa, which was our grandfather that passed away. You know, my sister that had passed away when I was younger, and, you know, God, just anybody, you know, anybody out there who's listening. And I said, you know, please give my mom the strength to, you know, get through this, whatever. And you know, I feel like it's even selfish to kind of say heal the cancer or stuff like. So I always ask for people, just, you know, if I'm thinking or meditating for something or whatever, giving positive energy, I always say to give them strength to deal with whatever, you know. So
Right, right.
um so I was doing that, and literally, I've never seen this dude before, and I've never seen him again. An old man that was like pretty old was riding a bicycle, and then there was a sign on the front that just says "Jesus loves you." And I was just praying to Jesus and, you know, God, and I literally said Jesus, and this dude turns the freaking corner, and it says Jesus loves you on there. And I grew up in that area, and I had never seen him before that, and I still haven't seen him since, and when I've been back in town. So that gave me like the chills, you know, like when something happens and you just go like, what the hell just
Right.
happened? And you've got like the goosebumps or the chills, and you're like, this is just too weird. So
That's
yeah,
exactly what happened when the light flashed. I actually teared up real good.
yeah. So a year and a half later now, my mom's fine. And there was another synchronicity attached to that, which is I was meditating one day and I saw my mom with, she looked like older in like a vision kind of a thing. So
Mhm.
I kind of had a positive outlook on it, and she actually had a rare like aggressive type of it, but it should be, you know, we should be in the clear here, which is good. So so that was one of them. that was a whole emotional thing. But yeah, that actually, like I said, getting into those esoteric books initially, and then all that stuff happening kind of propelled us, kind of where we are with this podcast today. Where, I mean, now we're looking at science and this and that, but at the time it was just like pondering life kind of stuff. So, um, the second thing is one day when I was meditating and I was deep into it. I mean, this one was probably an hour and a half in, and I was awake. I wasn't lucid dreaming because I also lucid dream too, and I know how to do that. It was not that because I hadn't. This was when I meditate. I like take a shower and I fast in the morning, um, and I stretch and stuff before. So it's like I'm going on the go when I or about to when I do it. So when I do it, I lay down, but I also don't fall asleep. So it's just this like the way that I work. And yeah, I saw like this. It was just like a disembodied head with like curly, um, like reddish hair, like blondish reddish hair, and like cherub face. And I'm like, wow.
Shogun?
No, at first I was like, it was a woman, and I was like, this looks like some sort of like Greek goddess or something, like what's going on here? I mean, it was weird enough to see something like that because that was the first time I like saw something in meditation. I almost felt like somebody slipped me some sort of psychedelic because I didn't know that when I started doing meditation, I was just trying to clear my thoughts, and then weird stuff started to happen. So,
Hmm.
um, I got to the point, and then I saw that this happy disembodied head floating, smiling, and it was all good. And then I was at my mom's house and I saw a picture of my sister that I mentioned that passed away, and it looked like her, like all grown up without all the
Oh yeah,
medical
you were
issues.
telling me about this.
So like
Yeah.
that gave me chills again then too. It was just this feeling I had like that was her all grown up, like as whatever, manifesting herself in a more adult form. So that was kind of a weird thing. Now, again, I'm open to the idea that these are just also my brain doing this
Yeah.
too. Like that. It's this fine line that I keep walking, where it's like I think to ultimate truth, you kind of have to put yourself through this back and forth because I don't think the answer is just one way or the other. But um, yeah, those were probably my two weirder ones of late. Have you ever had uh, have you ever had one on some sort of like psychedelic experience?
Psychedelic?
Or I know, yeah, or I know you were on that in that serious car crash too. Like, have you ever had anything weird, with any of that kind of stuff?
No, not that car crash. I don't know if you'd call it a synchronicity. It might have just been a nicely made car. But yeah, I don't know. Me and Danny, the guy's one of the brothers, was in the accident. Yeah, we were pretty lucky that we survived that. So I don't know. I don't know if it was because of a reason. Then you have kids that die for no reason. So
Right.
what's the explanation? I can't tell you. It kind of gets back to that. Let's figure out what's going on here. Like what my buddy told me. I don't know if we'll ever understand. We got to just kind of. We do understand a couple things. We got to be good to each other. We got to try and help out other people get through this mess of life. We're a real thresher, as my buddy Rust Cole would say. We're in a real thresher here. But I think those things, and
Can he
then
can he
whatever happens
taste
after.
can he taste aluminum?
I taste some.
Synesthesia, bro.
I taste rust.
Aluminum foil. It's in the air.
Red crushed rust.
Anybody knows
But
we're not weirdos. That's from True Detective season 1. So,
yeah,
uh,
this is actually dialogue right out of the script. So
but back to this. So, like, have you ever experienced something like weird, just like a mystery? Like, doesn't have to do with anything like consciousness based, but maybe something like seeing something weird, like in the woods,
that's
or I
what I
mean,
was saying. No, I don't really think so. I think me
yeah,
and you
isn't
have
that weird? Like,
experienced.
we go camping a lot. I've never seen anything like people
Right.
say like Bigfoot or bear, like even a bear. Like, I mean, I mean, we're not that far
That's
north
because we're
Michigan.
sane. We're not gonna see something.
He goes, that's why we're not seeing any gigantopithecus, okay?
And if we do, I'm gonna scream Gigantopithecus.
Before it what beef jerkies you against a tree, dude. That's you're gone next.
Yeah.
messing
But
with Sasquatch.
but it's actually a good little story. We've been camping for this is our 30th year going. We go in the woods. We've never seen anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And we've taken substances too. If you're gonna see a ghost, you might be on mushrooms. You might be on booze.
We've done that, and they're not there. They're not. I have oh,
Right.
okay, this is weird. I have seen something though, on substances. I was staring into the fire, and we were up North Michigan, and then all of a sudden, like the logs that were sideways, like when you look at the fire, you can see them like lengthways or the side view. There was two of them like stacked sideways that looked like the thumb or the hand in Michigan, with a fire triangle around it. I'm like, if this isn't a fucking sign, I don't know what the fuck is.
You
Do I
better
live in
pray.
Michigan? Do I live in Michigan? Do I get the fuck out of Michigan? I don't know. Like there's a fire around it. So does that mean stay here or leave? I don't know. So like, and then I don't know. Then I thought about that like the whole time. It was like really super weird. I actually didn't tell anybody about that until now because um, I thought people would think I was crazy, but I don't really give a fuck. So
Well, everybody, I think it's the brain.
yeah,
It
I
makes
mean,
up some stuff. I can attest to it. I'm not saying that I try and lie, but when you try and recall something, it's always gonna recall it a little bit differently, a little bit wrong. But what is reality then at that point? After you live something, it only becomes a memory in your brain. So the actual reality of it doesn't even really exist anymore. You know what I'm saying?
right.
We're getting weird now. Ladies and gentlemen, turn your lights off, light a candle, and we're going to talk about some weird mysteries. But the problem is I haven't really had any weird mysteries.
You know,
Everybody else has had a weird mystery but me. I want to have one.
that's the and then isn't that so like we all this alien talk the last few episodes. I like talking about it because I think it's like a cool, interesting idea. But I look like sometimes I just think like just show me a fucking alien, a UFO. Just show me
Right.
something, and then I'll be in. Like I'll forever be in this thing. So I haven't seen the UFO. I mean, when we go, like you said, we go up North Michigan, you can see literally every star in the sky pretty much from horizon to horizon. Especially when we go up there and it's a new moon. When we usually go up there, it's the second week in August sometimes, and there's the Torrid meteor stream. Um, so we see a lot of cool stuff. We see shooting stars, we see satellites. You can tell the satellite too because it's on the same trajectory, and it comes by like every certain amount of minutes. You know, so you can see stuff. So I've never seen. Couple times I've seen some weird stuff, but not in the terms of like something darting around or anything like that. So
Yeah, unless it's in your tent. No, but
uh,
it's funny because I was thinking like our teacher from high school, Mr. Washburn, remember him?
maybe no, I don't know. I don't think I had them.
He was like a social studies teacher. I don't know, but he's a credible guy. This guy claimed he had an encounter with a UFO. Um, my mom's had a encounter with a ghost. People
Yeah.
that are pretty credible have had these weird supernatural
Oh
experiences.
yeah, we did
So
the ghost episode with Mac, and you told the story of your mom's ghost on what was it, Harson's Island.
yeah,
So,
yes, yes.
but the ghost thing, like, but just the alien thing, I think I don't know, It's one of those weird things.
Very
Seriously,
fringy.
like how come all these weirdos? And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it seems like when I go on like the threads, and I'm on a lot of the threads, whether it be Reddit or Facebook or whatever, because I promote our stuff sometimes and put stuff out
Yeah,
there.
go on a rant here. I'm gonna get some water.
Okay, but I definitely am tapped into what's going on, and to be honest with you, um, a lot of the people posting videos, obviously, most of them are fake, and the people that said they've seen them, a lot of those people I don't, they're not crazy, but I mean, could it have been something else? Like I at least have the open mind to acknowledge it could or could not be. But me personally, we put ourselves in the environment where if something was going to happen, I mean, maybe the problem is where we are, like is up north Michigan a real hot spot? Maybe not. Maybe we need to go to like the desert Nevada or Utah or something to see some crazy shit. I don't
Well,
know,
why is that even any different?
because
I think
that's
just people are just bored out there.
no,
It's
no, because that's where everything is. Like Groom Lake, Area 51, all that stuff.
right, right. I'm just saying, why are the aliens always going out there?
Well, if there was a base, why wouldn't you go to the base that's in the United States? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not
Yeah,
saying that is, but I'm saying if that's where they're taking everything and that's where everything's stored, it would only make sense if there are these things. Let's say we know about them. Let's say we have communication with them and we do shit with them. They're not going to just land in the middle of the woods somewhere. They're going to go to where everything is. And let's say we
true,
don't.
true.
Let's say we don't. Let's say it's our own government. Well, of course, then that is where it's at. So it's like one of those things where it's like I said, Michigan just might not be a hot spot. I'm not saying there's never been anything. I know some people that have seen some weird shit in Michigan, but
Uh-huh.
for the most part, like I said, I'm open to the experience. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's for people that aren't open to it or something. I don't know. Like maybe that's the whole purpose of it.
I see.
Just
Yeah, I see you going out in the middle of a field, like in fire in the sky. You're just jaunting your body to
just
the
getting
light.
beamed up. Yeah, take me.
Yeah.
Um, no, but
But even
so
like that guy, because that's based on a true story, don't you feel like that guy might have been in some sleep paralysis state?
no, because he was with other people in the woods working at like a logging thing. I think if I recall the story right, he was in the woods. He went out, walked into this clearing or something, and these other guys and they all had to take like lie detector tests, in which they passed and stuff. I don't know the exact, but I'm pretty sure I remember that part of it. And I don't know how accurate the movie is to. I think his name's Travis Walton, his actual story, but I mean,
Right, right.
when I
Oh,
when
I'm sure it's far.
that
I'm
came
sure
out,
it's a far
I think
stretch.
that came out when we were like 10 or 11 or something. That was actually kind of scary to watch when you're a kid too, because the aliens that they show are not the nicest aliens in that movie. They drag his naked body
Yeah,
around,
they probe them.
throw him in a yeah, they probe him, they throw him in a pod. This guy's in like a
They throw them in a vat of acid. They like
yeah. Imagine being in like when you die, you think you're going to heaven. You wake up, you're in this disgusting gel pod, and you go, "What the fuck is going on here?" And these aliens just dragging your ass around. That would suck dick.
yeah, that's like the Matrix, brother.
That is actually,
That's assault,
what?
brother.
I used to take a dump on the Matrix back in the day. I always just thought it was like this like nerdy thing to get into, but I actually think it's like way ahead of its time in terms of
Oh
like
hell yeah, man.
concept and stuff. But back then, I'm thinking like it's just this thing that everybody likes. I like Keanu Reeves, but I like him better in other things. Like I didn't think he was that.
He was laughed upon at one point, but he's actually with that John Wick. He's a badass
I,
now.
I like John Wick. It's entertaining. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he does a lot of stunts and
Look at
stuff.
John Wick 3's coming out. They killed a lot of puppies because of this John Wick thing, but I guess they got to do what they got to do.
Can
So
we sneak in Keanu Reeves and John Wick into these hashtags?
no, no,
These
we're
guys
not.
go weird mysteries. It's fucking Keanu Reeves talk. Talk about speed.
Um, yeah, that's a good movie. Speed 2, probably the worst movie though. So it
Yeah.
goes. He wasn't in it, but he's lucky.
No, Speed is a good movie. It's kind of cheesy, but it's good. It keeps your attention. You're sitting there white knuckling the whole time.
Yeah. Um.
But
So yeah. So you've never, like I said. So that when it comes to like woods, like I know people get, oh, we're out in the woods. The thing that creeped me out more about the woods was that it was actually the raccoons, bro. Like if you're not
yeah,
out in the woods experiencing raccoons, then you've never seen some crazy shit. I've seen raccoons roll around on their back with cans of beer and pop, like chugging it like that. I'm not even joking. I've had
having a
raccoons.
party in the forest.
Yeah, we heard the raccoons, they got into our coolers. Like they have like little five finger five yeah, they have 5 fingers, and they don't have opposable they don't have opposable thumb, but they can open up coolers, even if you have a latch on it and stuff. So they're
They
pretty
have five
crazy.
claw fingers. It's
They're ballsy too. They come out when everybody's passing out, and they'll get through your stuff. But
well, those
yeah,
are
I
like
mean,
those are campground coons.
yeah, yeah, the raccoons are definitely gonna take over the world someday if we disappear. So,
But people like
but
you and me, we want to see the weird. We want to see the strange, and we're
I'm
looking
open
for it. We
to it.
never see anything.
I mean, like I said
So
on
maybe we're
our
just not
last
tuned into that level. I don't know.
I mean, like I said in our last episode, the Are We Alone in the Universe, the lucid dream I had where I'm laying in the desert, and there's like a flying saucer, like UFO to my left, like probably 400 or 500 yards, and I'm just like laying on my back on the desert, and this thing's floating in the air. Just I could feel like a hum or like a buzz coming from it, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so that's kind of weird. I didn't watch anything. I mean, I do watch alien shit sometimes, but I hadn't for that whole week to that point. So I
This
don't
guy,
know.
this guy in our chats is asking if we ever saw that raccoon inside the beer warehouse.
No, is
This,
that a
this,
YouTube video? We'll check that
yeah,
out.
this coon got in a warehouse and went nuts. Got
Oh,
hammered. Started
well,
rolling around, I guess.
yeah, no, absolutely.
They're
We'll check.
crazy. They love that. It's crazy that they would drink beer and pop. You would think pop would be
Well,
disgusting
it's
to them.
sweet. I mean, I think they want sugar. You know,
Right,
it
right.
seems like they want the sugar. So,
Beer isn't really like sugar, though. I guess hops
uh,
would be kind of
I mean,
appealing to them.
what do you mean? Beer has tons of sugar. I think, doesn't it?
Well, as alcohol, that turns into the sugar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, in terms of like I said, okay, so if the raccoons, we don't even see like bears and stuff. I don't know if we're too. I mean, we're pretty out there. We're not that
But that's what I'm
close.
saying, though. They're used to people camping. So if you like went in the middle of the woods, it's. I know it's like really. Haven't you ever read
Well, we
Where the
have
Fern
okay.
Grows?
So remember when we went to the UP and we did our own thing, you know? We
Yeah.
didn't. We went to that weird place by ourselves for a few nights, like a separate from everybody, and we camped there, and did our own like weird whatever trippy shit we were doing. Um, but actually, that might have been where the Paxnifian was, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Out there labeling animals.
um, but yeah, we were out there. I mean, the UP's no slouch. I mean, they've got stuff up there for sure.
It's
Uh,
amazing. Are you kidding me?
but I'm saying like we didn't even see anything then, so it's not. I mean, I get it.
Right.
You're not
The
just like
deeper you get, the more the animals become aware. Like I said, where we saw those raccoons was a decently visited campground. They just get used to people. They know they're going to get scraps. They adapt. It's like
well,
it's
and
like the revolving.
yeah, that
If you go,
specific.
like I said, in the Red Fern Grows, you ever read that? It's like the kid trap. I guess it's a fake story, but it's like the old raccoon trapping. These things are smart. They're very, very smart.
Right. No, I
Not
got.
like these campground raccoons. I don't know. How did we get on this kick? What's going on
I
here?
don't know. We were talking about weird stuff, but I'm saying the weirdest thing we've seen were like raccoons doing weird shit. Like that's the besides us being the weirdos out there doing weirds. Like yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I sometimes I think like, do I want to see it? But then I'm like, do I want to see it? I don't, and that's like this like debate I have with myself where it's like, you've seen the movie Signs, haven't you?
yeah.
Imagine like looking out your window and seeing that thing fucking walk by and look at you and then just keep walking. You don't know where that
Wouldn't that
thing's
be
going.
fun though? Because you could load up super soakers and just go and attack.
Yeah, but you don't know that at that point in the movie.
But if you did learn that,
Actually, talk about synchronicities. That movie is basically one giant synchronicity that they
why?
keep
Yeah, it's a
spoil.
synchronicity of poop.
No, spoiler alert. Because the water kills the aliens, and they keep putting glasses of water, around the whole house.
Oh, that's
You know what
not
I'm?
synchronicity.
Yeah, it
That's just
is. Yeah, it is. That little girl. That's a whole thing, dude. What are you talking about? I'll fight you
right.
on this because you're fucking wrong,
I'm
dog.
kidding, man.
The little
Shyamalan's a pretty good
no, but you know
director.
how the little girl in that movie is like, "There's something in my water. Get me a new
Right,
water."
right.
There's
Yeah,
literally like a million glasses of water around their whole house, and then at the end they realize what's his face bashes one. It gets on the alien. It starts to burn it, and he's like, "Oh, this shit
that's
works."
fine. That's fine. But that's the premise is so stupid. Why would
You
a
don't like
race
you don't
travel
like
light years?
you don't like Shyamalan, huh?
No, I do like some of his movies. You're telling me this race of whatever creatures
This is
traveled
what I was talking
light
about.
years to
Yeah,
where the planet's all water. Why would they go there?
this is what I was talking about earlier. Your assumption is that life is the premise is water, which for us it is, but it might not be that way across the universe. You know
You
what I'm
could
saying?
detect whatever you're going to a planet. If you can travel at the speed of light, you can detect stuff. You can detect what materials. We're already doing it. You detect what materials are out there. What rocks are made of this.
So basically, you're saying you actually prefer Mars Attacks as a movie.
That's even worse, man.
Um.
But yeah,
So
was it Mike Tyson in that?
no, Actually,
Yeah,
yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
don't mess with my brain, man.
I think everybody was in that movie, but
Yeah, they just had a big old budget, bunch
so
of.
but so you never had anything like weird? Like, I mean, we've obviously both had some people in our family, pass away and close friends and stuff. There's never been anything else that was, how about the 11 thing again? Like, cause I mentioned it earlier, like, so I'll be thinking some weird stuff and I'll see 1111 and then you look it up on, like YouTube or Google or stuff. And it's an actual thing that people, um, point out themselves. Now, yeah, we look at 11:11, every day or every other day, whatever. If you're looking at the clock, for instance, like when I sit in my living room and watch TV, the clock's right there on the Comcast box, so you always know what time it is. Like all you have to do is look at it. So, um, in terms of I think to myself when I think these weird things and I look at the clock sometimes it's involuntary. So it's like, is that my mind doing that? And if so, like why? Is it showing me? Some people believe that that's a message or something at the time, or that's when this like gateways open for communication with like the other
Right,
side, or
right.
whatever the case may be. For me, it's always been like thinking weird things, or but I think that way a lot. So I don't know if it's just me looking at 11:11 and putting meaning to the fact that I'm already thinking something weird, or is what I'm thinking, maybe that's a sign that what I'm thinking I'm on the right track. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the battle that I have sometimes with myself when I get that feeling that, you know, I don't know. Do you ever have that or no?
Well, I was talking to my aunt a lot about this, and she was this brings me back to the thing I was saying earlier is that when you get older, more people pass away and more things start to relate to you. Like, let's say your one aunt like butterflies, she passes on, then you're gonna start seeing butterflies, and maybe you start to notice some more, and then you're thinking, oh, this butterfly lands, that's her. So I don't know. I think, like I said before, I think it's as your life develops things, that's when it's actually a pretty good subject to talk about because you're never going to be able to pinpoint one thing or another. Like you were saying with the time, maybe like you were saying, you're learning more, and the time thing, you just start seeing it. I don't know, because I've had the time thing too. But what does it mean? That was what I was going to say. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's wrap this up by asking some questions here. What does it mean? If it is a synchronicity, does it help you like make art? It's very peculiar.
For me, like I said, it's more of like a thought experiment thing. Like if I'm thinking something, like let's say I'm doing so, like usually at that time I'm on the computer, just working on our stuff, making stuff better, whether it's our website or graphics or whatever. Um, but I'll just be thinking, or I'll listen to a podcast while I'm doing it, or I'll put a YouTube movie on, or I'll put the TV on and have it in the background, you know, something weird. I like when I'm watching TV by myself, it's going to be something where I'm going to learn something or I'm not going to watch it. That's just how I am. And
Uh,
I watch stuff for entertainment with my wife, but yeah, if I'm not learning something or laughing at something, there's no, like, I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts too. So if I'm not doing that, I don't choose to watch like a stupid show or something. So um but I think that there is, like I said, the one that I had, I thought that was some where at the time that was like, I'm in, I'm sold. Jesus is real, you
it's
know.
just all right. Oh yeah.
Well, no, because when you pray to, when you say, please give her this, it's like this, like, it, for me, it's like thinking about your mom's mortality and like worried about her health, it's not looking good, like that kind of stuff, and then
Yeah.
you're already vulnerable, so to have that
Right. Right.
come up is just like, is this some sort of cosmic joke, or is this real, so for me that was the one that really was like, this is crazy shit, so
Well, I think
um
that's the question. Do humans have the ability to overcome the death and the coping mechanism just built in, or do we find strength from some other place that helps us get through it? That's the question of, it's been a long coming question, baby. Long
mhm.
train coming, and it's coming right for your mind.
Wow, it's interesting.
Well, that's what happens when you let me ramble, my man.
um so I mean, like, there's other synchronicities too. Like, do you ever think of stuff as like, oh, that was a coincidence, or like, do you ever have the thing where you'll listen to like a song or something,
Oh, let
and
me
then
let me break this down for you. I used to be able to tell you what Fresh Prince episode was coming on later. something throughout the day would trigger me to think of an episode from Fresh Prince. Like, let's say I'm not joking, man. Like, let's say I'd see a I'd see like a slot machine or something. See a slot machine. I think of that episode when Carlton got addicted to the slot machine. And then I would think of the episode later on that day. You know, Fresh Prince was coming on. I only had 2 stations growing up. Guess what episode it
You
is?
really did. If you wanted to watch TV, you did not go to his house. I know.
But I'm serious. What episode was it? Carlton's addicted to the gambling. It happened to me multiple times. I'm not making this up. So
You're
what I
basically
always thought to hold on a second. I always thought to myself, what is this magical power? Because it's useless. And how can I hone it in to number 1, make money, or number 2, better something? Because guessing Fresh Prince episodes doesn't do much, bro.
so you're telling me that you're some sort of Fresh Prince psychic genius. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I almost, and to be honest, it might have happened a couple times with friends too.
Specifically, the episode where Ross gets a keyboard.
So what is that? It's my brain seeing something, drawing that into the episode, and then thinking about that episode, and then somehow that episode's coming on later in that night. This is some Edgar Allan Poe connection shit, bro.
There's a lot of sci research into that kind of stuff. Where I mean, Rupert Sheldrake and those guys do, and Dean Radin, they do these experiments where, it's a probability based thing. So it's like, how many times can you guess who's on the other end of the line, or who's going to call before, like that kind of stuff, like premonition type stuff. So like, and they found like in Dean Radin's book, Real Magic, it's actually a great book. I've read it. Everybody should check it out. There's a lot of stuff in there, and there's a lot of anecdotal stuff and history of magic and stuff like that. But then it also talks about like modern day sci research and stuff like that. So the one thing is that they found that, like, so there's an experiment where can people tell if somebody else is like looking at, like, if you're not looking at the person but somebody's like, can you tell if somebody's looking at you? And they found like more times than not, so it's like 54%, which sounds low, but that means more than half the time somebody's able to guess if somebody's looking at you. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's pretty interesting, right? I mean, so and we know other things are tapped in, like birds are tapped into the Earth's magnetic field, like there are, how do we know that we don't have these secret abilities that are just not honed in from not using them, or, we're just not using ourselves
using them over the years,
our greatest potential, like we're not aware of it.
Shutting down that third eye. And I'm not talking about the brown eye.
You shut that thing down, you dead.
No, but seriously, like, there is something else that I think like all the media and the just the fucking primordial material goo we get stuck into is just, it like masks that connection that you can tune into the energy, and maybe you can guess a Fresh Prince episode, although that is connected to the it's weird because that is connected. Maybe that's why that's the only thing I can tune into, because I'm so tuned into the TV. I gotta unplug.
Yeah, if you're watching the news, there's something wrong with you as a person.
No, I don't do that anymore. I have the only.
And I don't mean to offend.
I pick my own channels. I don't fucking let the stations program you with their bullshit.
I'm not trying to make anybody feel, but just the news is worthless these days. It's all fear mongering, and there's never anything positive. There's never anything positive, and if it is positive, there's like an agenda behind it. It's just the news initially started out as like a public service, like, hey, this is happening. This was back when things used to go wrong, like wars and bombings, stuff like that. So they would, hey, beep, 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 especially like just letting people know what's going on. Now there's like an angle and an agenda. And it doesn't matter if you're like, well, that's why we don't, and if you've wondered, we don't talk about politics on this podcast because it's a joke, number one. And number two, 50% of the people are always going to be unhappy. It doesn't matter. So if half wins, the other half loses, and if the other half wins, the other half loses. It doesn't matter. At the same time, I think we're at a point where people need to start talking about stuff like, where are we, like, who are we, where do we come from, stuff like the synchronicities and stuff. It's just more important than like the bigger picture stuff's more important than like, oh, so and so said this to so and so, and they're offended now, so they're not going to do. It's just like, it's. Are you kidding me? Like, this is some bullshit. That's why, and
Right.
I hate saying it. I look at society sometimes like I'm an alien. Like, I don't need to meet an alien because sometimes I feel like one. Like, how is this playing out on this grand scale and nobody else is really looking at it? There are people looking at it like that, or and I don't even say necessarily think my point of view is right on this whole take on stuff. I just think that I'm over it, man. I really am. I'm just over the whole. It's just a charade. It's like there's far more important things to be worried about, than that. So
Yeah. Well, good little session here today.
yeah. So yeah, if anybody has any of their own synchronicities, weird mysteries, we wish we had better, cooler shit for you. Maybe we will in the future.
Well,
There's a
that's why we
lot.
bring these people on. We want to
Yeah,
hear these stories, and
yeah, we've had some pretty cool people on with some pretty weird experiences of their own,
we're
and
not gonna bullshit though. I'm not gonna be like Marilyn Manson going to some story about some fucking abandoned house I went into, and then I read some book, and then the house disappeared. You ever watch that show?
or you're not going to tell
Celebrity
Billy.
Ghost Stories.
Yeah, like Billy Corgan seeing a shapeshifter. You don't have a story like that. You're telling me?
He's dead serious about that. I want to hear more.
Yeah, but didn't he say like, oh, I'm gonna write a book, or it's like, well, what's the agenda here now, bro? It was the
He
reptilian
was.
lizard.
Whoa, reptilian lizards! You say the word, the whole fucking system breaks down. Why is Alex Jones and why is this guy infiltrating my head? Gonna sell me some fucking pills or some shit. Wow. Well, we had a good run without the swear words tonight.
No, we didn't. We swear throughout the whole
It's
thing.
been flagged. It's
No,
been
no,
flagged.
dude, our fucking channel's been thrown in a category like dudes who swear and talk about shit you're not supposed to talk about on YouTube.
Right.
Like we're in
Oh,
that,
they're
like,
not supposed to talk about UFOs and stuff, so it doesn't
well,
really
you're
matter.
we're in that, like at the end of Indiana Jones where they throw the evidence in the box and then it shows it putting it like on a ledge, and that ledge is like one of a billion ledges, like that's
Oh,
where
Joan.
that's where this shit's getting filed. So
Right.
but yeah,
No,
but
people talk like normal people, and you
if
can.
uh if anybody has any, like I said, experiences, leave a comment below, or if we know you, kind of send us a email or whatever.
Yeah, you
um
should plug your. We should plug our buddy's website thing
Oh yeah. Oh, well, we're
for
gonna we're gonna have him on.
Okay, okay. I
But
won't.
and we're gonna talk about it. But if anybody hasn't joined, I know we get a lot of people that are into psychedelics and marijuana, that kind of stuff. If anybody that's interested in that kind of stuff, there's a separate app. Our buddy Lee Adams, who's been on the show a few times, created. It's called dmtworld.net. So go to dmtworld.net if you're into like psychedelics and that kind of stuff.
And it's not just limited to DMT though.
No,
It's
no, it's everything. It's pod, it's mushrooms, it's the whole gambit of stuff. And it's not even just that. It's like cool stuff like people posting stuff about psychology and science related articles about current studies and psychedelic research and that
expanding
kind of.
your mind in general.
Yeah, just that kind of stuff. And even Lee himself, he's a big Jungian fan. He's big into the Jung psychology stuff. So he's posting stuff on that. So you get a whole range of stuff. But yeah, dmtworld.net. It's new, but it's already got a ton of people on there. I've been on there playing around the last few days, and there's a lot of cool people on there, a lot of cool stuff. So check that out. And we'll put that in the link below as well. But we're gonna have him on and talk about it in depth one day too. So
Sounds good, brother. Well,
that's
I'm
it.
glad you're in
Don't
town.
forget. I'm gonna cut you off. Don't forget to check out Maurice's comedy page.
Oh, thank you. You're
This
too
kid
kind.
need this kid needs all the help he can get. Think of him as like one of those sad puppies on a commercial that needs more love. It needs more subscribers. It just needs
No,
more.
don't do that, man. I'm
It
trying to
just
take people on dates here.
No. It just needs more. It just needs more views, bro. No, it's honestly, I help with a lot of the stuff. I think it's funny. A lot of sketch comedy stuff, a lot of like funny commercials. They've got some more stuff in the works. They've got a short series that they've been working on a while called Dogan and Murphy. Check that out as well. Um, and that's it. We
Thanks,
will
man.
catch you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.